Good afternoon, everybody. Eddie Webb. We are here at the New Media Lab at Mesa Community College. We are continuing to showcase our amazing faculty and staff for this year's series. We're real happy to have Dr. Ton Hipley back as our guest host today. You want to say hi, Ton?
Hi, Ton.
We have a real important guy over here. He's hard to get to. And Cesar, I'm going to have you introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Cesar Becerra. I've been at MCC now for 13 years, Applied Sciences and Technology.
The big doctorate school with Cesar. I got kicked back a summer because I had a grant that I had to fulfill, and so I came back with the next cohort, and I got to meet all you guys.
Yeah, it was great.
It was one of the best experiences of my life, that program. I learned so much. And I'll tell you, the one thing that I took away from that experience is that I value today, and I share with my students today, is I learned to be wrong. And I think that's been one of the greatest gifts I've ever had, is that you can be in an environment where you can test your ideas and theories using different kinds of instruments, and then you see results and you go, wow, that's interesting. You know what I mean? And I just felt I never really was around an environment like that. Like being wrong was not, it's like you don't surrender, all that stuff, hostile, agile, mobile kind of linebacker stuff.
Yeah.
And, going, oh, I'm wrong. That comes hard in the neighborhoods we grew up in, I think, and Ton as well. Anyway, we are super happy to have you here. Could you describe your position and role at Mesa Community College?
All right. So my position is pretty cool, pretty unique, pretty innovative because it's both inward facing and outward. So I'm the Student Services Manager in Applied Sciences and Technology. I have a team of career navigators that I lead. So I do a lot of work in the campus, but I also do a lot of work outside the campus with industry partners and educational partners.
Cesar, I want to make sure it's Cesar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
I have a hard time sometimes with my R's. So I've been here this is my 25th year, and I've seen you multiple times over the years, in different places and spaces. And then it seems here in the last year, you and I have been in a lot of the same spaces. Yeah. And I hear your name and I hear, you're talking about things that I'm like, wow, he really knows his stuff. So when you think about your role and you're describing your role, what are some of the impacts of your role? What are some of the things that you feel are just super powerful? And you spoke about workforce development. What are the things that you're feeling really strong and powerful about?
Yeah, well, I tell this story whenever I get a question like this. My background before MCC, I was a high school counselor, and I love that role. I love being a high school counselor, and I love graduation because of, the accomplishment, the family, the hugs, the stoles, the regalia. And I always thought that was the best feeling I could ever have as an educator. But when I came to MCC and I took on this role, I realized that that's an amazing feeling. But the only feeling that I've ever felt that's bigger than that is helping that same student get their dream job, connect to industry. Because when you help a student graduate, like it's phenomenal, it's fantastic, but you still don't know what happens to them afterwards, right? Maybe they went to college, maybe they didn't, maybe they got a job, maybe they didn't. And when you help, place somebody into the position of their dreams, the career that they want to go into, that takes that feeling and takes it to another level. So I really love that aspect of it, is that the impact is just just a little bit greater because of that reason. So that's something that I really like. I get to impact students in a different way.
I want to piggyback on that. So one of the roles that I have here is I'm a club advisor, and I'm with the Educators Rising Club. And this year we have a phenomenal young woman who had 4 years of high school as student government. And so we're working on our website and we're looking at all of the things that we've done over the years. And we decided that we want to reach back to students who have been club presidents, also the young man who is responsible for originating the club, and do a "Where are you now?" piece, and have those as the a piece of our Google Sites, our club page. So hearing what you said there, that's really something I value when I run into those students and I see that they're teaching and they reach back out to me and say, "Hey, this is some, incredible work that I'm doing. Can you help me? Can you support my
Yeah,
school?" I just love hearing what you're saying because that's a rewarding thing for me as well.
absolutely. Yeah. Past impacts the present impacts the future, and it's important to give each one of those areas value.
I love because culturally, growing up around a lot of folks, in my dad's community as American Indian, our past, our history, knowing the clans before your 7 generations was as important as being present today. And sometimes in this very Eurocentric culture, it's almost like we don't like talking about the past in a way. You know what I mean? So I really like that you embrace that and value that.
Absolutely.
What are some of the challenges that you face in your position?
All right. Well, I love challenges, first of all, right? So I did mention that my position is outward facing and inward. So as you are very well aware, you can't be in two places at once. So when I'm not on campus, it's because I'm meeting with industry partners, or I'm at a high school or middle school or a community event. And obviously when I'm on campus, I can't be outside. So the managing of that, the balancing of that can be a challenge at times. But for me, it's more of an opportunity. And for me, it's more something that keeps me engaged and keeps me with a lot of energy, because my days, my weeks are very different from day to day or from week to week. I could be meeting with Boeing or Intel or Honeywell or Dexcom, a company, today, and then next week I'm presenting at a high school or at a community event, or doing committee work here at the college, or student life, recruitment, etc. So that is a challenge, but I look at it as a great opportunity. The other thing is that my position is in academic affairs, but it also crosses over significantly with student affairs. Part of it by design, but more so by my own personality and my passion for education. So, I'd like to just be, impactful as much as I can, and go out on campus and try to collaborate and try to partner with different groups on campus, specifically, student life, recruitment, career services, advising. Those are all kind of natural crossovers for somebody in my position. And just because, somebody's in academic affairs or somebody's in student affairs, it doesn't mean that they can't collaborate. In fact, the opposite is true, right? We should be collaborating as much as we can, whenever we can.
We were in a workforce development meeting with Michael Voss a couple of weeks ago, and there were a few of us who were talking about service learning in particular and those relationships and partnerships. And you spoke to some of those challenges that really made me think about my role as a faculty member, that the college shuts down, essentially in the summer. Many faculty leave and go enjoy, time away. And it made me think about how I need to continue to work to support those partnerships that are crucial to my students when I'm placing them out in the field, giving them those workforce development opportunities in the form of service learning. Made me think about how much more I need to be communicating with you, learning from you. And as Dennis was talking today, are we rowing in the same direction in the same kind of boat? Could you speak to some of those as a challenge?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, it's an opportunity, right? The college does shut down during the summer for the most part. The world doesn't. Industry doesn't. So over the summer, we engage heavily with industry. We have a lot of meetings, a lot of tours. My area in applied science and technology, I don't know if you guys have toured there yet, but we do a lot of tours in our area because we have some really amazing labs and fantastic professors and students. So, I call it the magical castle of applied sciences, kind of like a Disneyland, amusement theme park. And we get a lot of traffic over there. But it's intentional, right? It's intentional. We want to get people over to our campus, especially in our area, because seeing is believing. We could talk about how great our programs are and how fantastic they are, but it's not the same as actually having them see the programs and the impact with their own two eyes and just experiencing it.
For our listeners, and I'm very curious, just walk me through a meeting with Boeing. First of all, like, who are you meeting with? Just walk us through it. Describe what you present, who you're presenting it to.
Well, they're usually, monthly meetings that we have with them because they've been a partner for a long time. So you got some of their top managers at Boeing. They're usually online too. So an online meeting. We got our dean. We got myself. We got some people from the district office, and just kind of talking about where we're going with our classes. We have some aircraft classes with them, wire harness assembly, and also J standard soldering. Those are the classes that we're partnering with Boeing on. And so just to see the status of the classes, the status of the completers, the status of the job placements, things like that, where we're going, projections. So they're more like monthly kind of check-in meetings that we have with them.
So Boeing is partnered with a community college to train their possible workforce people to come over. Do they offer scholarships for the students in those programs?
Yeah, absolutely. Boeing has been offering funding for us for about 10 years now. So a lot of the courses that I mentioned, the wire harness and the J standard classes, they get fully reimbursed to the student upon completion. So they do need to pass the class, but if the student passes the class, then they're awarded the full tuition money. So that's zero cost to them other than the $15 registration fee.
Oh, I like that a lot. Let them earn it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is fantastic, man. So what are some of the misconceptions about CTE and workforce programs?
All right. So this is one that we've been answering for the last 12, 13 years that I've been here. The biggest misconception is that it's not for the best and the brightest, right? So we have a hard time having parents understand that these careers in automation, these careers in welding, automotive, machining, electronics are fantastic careers for everyone, right? There's still that kind of like misnomer of, they're dirty, they're greasy, they're careers that are below the standard of, the really good high school academic kid, right? So that's something that over the last 15 years, we've slowly been able to kind of dismantle, because it's not the case. It's called advanced manufacturing for a reason. The labs are very clean. They're very technical. They're fantastic jobs, and they're high paying, and they're also in demand, which is the biggest thing, right? So we're training literally the future workforce that's going to help drive Arizona into the next generation. It's super important, and we need to kind of just address the misconception of the past versus the reality of right now and in the future.
Well, that has definitely changed in the wage earner category for sure. And it seems to me, that's just shocking to me, absolutely, to hear that. But, a pro mechanic, I think, has a better shot at getting a job than a person who can quote poetry. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm shocked to even hear that, Ton.
But again, going back to my comment earlier, the best way to, kind of rip apart that misconception is to bring them to the lab, to show them what we have. When you go to a space and you tell a student or a parent or a community member, there's $5 million worth of equipment in this lab, that's impressive. And this lab, the work that we do here is literally driving the economic, reality and of Arizona. That's like, wow, okay, things that they wouldn't normally understand or know.
So you and I share that we were in high school before we came here. I was a high school English teacher. Don't be knocking my poetry. And you were a high school counselor. And
I'm talking about getting a job.
Hey, I'm a poet too, so you're outnumbered here.
All right.
And so, those who know me know that I have a single track mind, that I really want to bring a secondary degree here. And when we talk about the best and the brightest, do you ever have conversations about the opportunities for some of these folks who are getting into the CTE field here to go back and teach in the high school environment, that those are opportunities for students to learn while they're in high school. And again, the other night we were talking about my good friend Mike Oliver, who's doing some amazing work over at Mountain View with academies and, giving students the opportunities to work in the fields that they're interested in while they're in high school, so that when they leave high school, they could be career ready if that was the trajectory of their field of interest. So we know best and brightest, but we do need those best and brightest in our high schools.
Yeah.
Are there opportunities?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, opportunities are all around us, right? You just have to have that, vision of looking for them. Well, once you start looking for opportunities, you're going to find them everywhere. Have I had those conversations with some of our students? Sure. But, to be honest with you, most of the students that are in the programs that I'm over, they want to get into the workforce. They don't necessarily want to teach about what they're learning. They want to do what they're learning. So that's a little bit different, but sure, there's opportunities everywhere, and we got to teach our students to be looking out for them and to take advantage of as many as they can.
So when you say best and brightest, what do you mean?
I mean, what I mean is just, when you're in high school, and I remember this because I was a high school counselor, right? Unfortunately, there was tracking, right? The kids with the 3.5 GPAs or higher, they were going to ASU or they were going to NAU or U of A. They were not going to Mesa Community College or, because they for whatever reason, they got tracked. The kids that were in the middle, those are the ones that ended up in manufacturing or ended up at the community college. And then the other ones, they weren't finishing. So I remember, one of the things that I used to think about and talk about a lot in high school is that we seem to spend a lot of time on the top 15% of our student population and a lot of time on our bottom 15% that are trying to graduate or barely making it to graduation. And that only adds up to 30. So we were ignoring the other 70 or largely ignoring them. And I had a big issue with that. I think I voiced it many times, but for whatever reason, I think that's kind of the culture at the high schools, right? We miss a lot of students in the middle, and that's who we catch here at the community college.
So the description of the best and brightest is that they go to ASU?
Well, I mean, that's not my description, but, when I was at high school, that was kind of the idea, right? And even when I was a student myself, right, I remember I was a really, really high academic, student. My GPA was 4.0. My buddies were going to UC this and UC that and CSU this and CSU that and Stanford and US, all these places, right? I couldn't tell them, oh, yeah, I'm going to go to the local community college because it was like, what do you mean? And so that's what I'm talking about. We have to break that down because that is, B and S, and we need to fix that. So luckily, I think times are changing a little bit now, but it is still difficult sometimes to talk parents into saying, hey, the jobs that are really, really going to be impactful in the future are right here at MCC, right? You don't have to go to ASU or NAU or U of A. You could do it right here.
Re-engage dismiss that stigma.
Yeah.
Because the other thing, I've taught at ASU. I got accepted to Stanford. I had an invitation and, they invited me there. Then I taught at UC Davis, taught different places and stuff.
But
And I love Mesa Community College.
Yeah.
And the reason is of the students.
Yeah.
I love the students. And even sometimes I've heard out there, even recently, you just teach at a community college. I'm like, no,
it's not
you don't
just
understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we are taking the students you're describing, that middle part of the pie, and giving them, at least in my mind, a Stanford education. Yeah. And I know the teachers here are real teachers.
Yeah. And we're also getting the higher part of the pie too now because students are understanding, hey, we could get pretty much the same education at a much more affordable price, at a much smaller, student to teacher ratio, sometimes with the same instructor, right? The same instructor, ASU and here. So yeah, no, it's phenomenal. I love being in the community college. Funny story, this is actually my last, before community college, I was everywhere. I was in high school, I've done middle school, I've done elementary school, I've worked at universities. Community college was my last stop. And I'm so grateful because this was my love. This was my love all along. 15 years now at the community college, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm passionate about it. The equity, the access, the inclusion. I just love it.
When you talk about loving being here, I've had so many opportunities here. I got my doctorate, while I was here. I have written papers. I've presented at conferences. I've taken students to conferences where they've presented. I've been able to be in the trenches with students. Several years ago, when I was taking my students to a conference and we were fundraising, and we were doing event support at the downtown convention center. I don't know if you know what event support is. It's walking around and cleaning the bathrooms and doing things like that. And so being able to be in the trenches with my students and then be in high academic environments with them presenting and still publishing and learning and growing and working with amazing colleagues, I can't imagine a place where so many of my needs and my desires and my interests are fulfilled as they are here.
Yeah, absolutely. Every single day is an opportunity to have an impact on somebody. And if you think about it that way, then every single day you have an impact, a positive one.
And don't you think, like the instructors that are teaching in your buildings and in those programs and the teachers that teaching are the academic side, don't you think they're here for the right reasons?
Absolutely. We have a phenomenal group of individuals in applied science and technology, just people that are super passionate, people that love the work, that love teaching. The culture in our building is amazing. It's just something that I really treasure.
Yeah, that's another reason I love it here is I've just loved the other educators that I have met. And we'll show you these PSAs we made after this for firefighters and nurses. We did these real, and we did it with the students. And we did these really short transformation, videos of them being students, them graduating, then into the job.
Yeah,
it was amazing. It was, and the cool thing about what we do here at the New Media Lab is the school can go hire a videographer, right? An outside vendor, spend all kinds of money, and they produce it, and it's all good. But what we do, we can do the same thing, but we bring students with us, and we teach them every step of the way, the order of operation. We value their ideas, what they bring to the story. And to me, that's the most exciting part. Back then, that's what we were doing. We were partnering with different departments to highlight what they do. And hopefully maybe we can get back to doing some of that
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely. Yeah, we're ready to help.
I want to say in February, and Dr. Webb was able to come and see a little bit of this documentary that the Educators Rising Club was screening. And the name of this documentary is Multiple Choice. And as I'm really thinking about CTE and I'm thinking about academics and I'm thinking about the best and brightest, one of the messages of this documentary was this and, not this or. When you think about multiple choice, you can make multiple choices in education, in a formal education. So you can do welding and AP physics. You can do plumbing or construction and poetry and advanced placement English and math. And I would love to see, when we're looking at someone who is looking for a CTE program or someone who's looking for an academic program, that we can do both. Because I find that those of us who focus only on academics, those 4.0 GPAs, that was never me, by the way, that we're stuck with trying to even do some of the simple things. Last night, my husband and I were hanging a shelf, and it needed to have a French cleat. And just the two of us,
what is that?
We're like, okay, we're doing YouTube University and, figuring out how to do this thing and feeling a little inferior and a little intimidated. Why aren't we allowing all of the aspects of our personalities and our abilities? Why aren't we training all of us to know how to do basic things like fixing or plumbing or changing out a toilet or, electrical challenges? Why aren't we making that just a natural part of education So I'm thinking about that, someone looking for a CTE program or someone looking for a academic program. What are your thoughts?
Well, here's something that comes to mind as you were speaking. The paradigm with education, the educational journey has shifted definitely from the time that I was a high school student to now. And I'm sure you could remember. For me, it was all about getting my bachelor's degree and then getting my master's degree, getting my education done so that then I could get married and start a family. It was in that order. It was linear, right? It's not linear anymore, which is fantastic, right? Now it's more like a highway with on-ramps and off-ramps. So you're on the highway and you decide, oh, you know what? Let me take 2 years of this at MCC. You get back on the highway. And then a few years later, oh, let me do this at, wherever and do something else. So it's not a linear educational pathway anymore, which I think is great. A lot of our students that we have in our areas and at the community college in general, they're probably 25, 26 years old, right? Some of them recareering. So that's an amazing difference to what we had, right? So I felt pressure to have everything done before I could start a family. Whereas now it's like you could literally do a little bit here, go to work, come back, start a family, come back. So it's not linear. I think that's a great thing. But as far as CTE goes, when I have tours in our building, which is often, I always have students, show me their hands, right? Show me your hands. And we do this, right? We do this. And, kind of wiggling the hands. And what does that mean? What are those? Hands. Okay. These programs are hands-on. I need you to remember that, right? If you like to learn by using your hands, taking things apart, putting things together, there is something for you here in CTE. It might not be automation, it might not be manufacturing, but maybe it's welding or vice versa. So the trick and the key for you is just to try different things. Almost like if you're, eating at a buffet, right? If you go to a buffet, you're not going to pack your plate up with just one thing. You're going to try a few different things, see which one you like, and the one that you like, you'll go back for more. The one that you don't like, you'll stay away from. Same thing with CT, right? Give it a shot, take a few classes here, and there's got to be something that you're going to love and you're going to want to, fill up your plate with. So that's kind of the mantra that I have for the students that tour our building. There's something for everybody in CT. Just got to give it a shot.
I go straight for the shrimp.
You go straight for the shrimp. You and my dad both.
I mean, dude, I'm sitting here you have the most, I think you have the most exciting job.
It's a really cool job. I love it. Yeah. Every day is different and you get to impact, people on so many different levels. I love it.
When we were in that program together, and the classes I really, really liked was the law classes. Mm-hmm. And I really loved the budget classes. Mm-hmm. I think you speak to, something we don't think about a lot, which is the external sort of policies and politics of our funding.
Right.
I think it's very clear. I mean, I'm in our legislative bodies, mm-hmm. why we are allowed to garner taxes from hardworking people.
Correct. Yeah.
And one of those reasons is to train them for a workforce to better strengthen our citizens and our business opportunities and our economy. I think sometimes that gets lost a little bit culturally, where we've spent so much time worrying about who's going to be the administrator or, all of that. Sometimes we forget the funding is for teachers to teach students.
Correct.
And I find what you're doing is you're rebuilding that culture, that our purpose of being here is exactly what you're doing.
Right.
And the academic transfer part, was a big part of us. When I got here, I would say more than half of the students were ASU students taking classes more affordable to transfer to ASU.
Right. So the only thing it kind of stood out as you were speaking is it's not what I'm doing, it's what we're doing.
Yes.
And I want to shout out, my team, everybody that I work with, the applied science and technology team, my navigators, all the faculty, the staff, student life, advising, career search, everybody together. We're doing some amazing work, and we should be very, very grateful for the opportunities that we have every single day to impact students. I think about that every day when I pull into the parking lot and when I leave.
I agree. Yeah, hence community college.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, and again, that's the great thing about being over here is that sense of being on it. And I like what we're doing in the English department. We have a phenomenal
Yeah.
chair, Dr. Calloway, Calloway, and others who are trying to reintroduce the idea that we're family.
Yeah.
We're not objects. We're not
Yeah.
We're employees technically, but it's better if we move as family. And I
Yeah.
love that, man.
And support each other too, right? We're all about student outcomes and student success, but we have to remember to take care of each other too, and check in with each other and make sure that we're okay, and lift each other up when we need it, because sometimes you're the one that's going to be needing some lifting, right? So we want to explore that culture too,
Yeah.
and build that culture.
Those sectors that have a good quality of life. When you
Right.
talked about, coming in and it's just this single track focus to get
Yeah.
to this degree and then boom. But we're realizing that there's the freeway and there's on ramps and
Yeah.
off ramps. But what are those sectors that are balance of life, but then also perhaps doing something really powerful for the world?
Yeah, and that's also our target, right? As a department, is making sure that all the positions that we're helping our students attain have a livable wage. And that sometimes is a challenge because not all companies are willing to pay that. But, the sectors that we're really, really strongly, partnered with right now are aerospace for sure. Semiconductor is another one, right? We do a lot with the EVs now. So those sectors are definitely growing. Anything with automation, because that area is booming. Welding is always strong. So we want to make sure that we're setting up our students with quality employers that are going to provide the type of wages that are going to help them live the quality life that they want to live. So that's another challenge that I have too, because I'm trying to get students connected to industry, but quality employers. And they're not all quality, right? And then the same thing on the other side, right? I'm trying to get students connected to industry, and sometimes we have good students, sometimes we have bad students, and somewhere in the middle, right? So it's not as easy as just you need a job, you need a worker, there you go, voila, it's done. I wish it was that easy, but it sure is not. It's like dating almost, right? It's like you got to check off a lot of different boxes, and there's got to be a lot of commonalities, and it's a process, right? I've worked with students probably up to 4 or 5 months trying to get them employed somewhere, because it's a process. It's not as easy as just, 1-in-1 correlation.
I remember the guys when I was getting my bachelor's at
Mm.
Cal State Chico that were in construction management.
Yeah.
They had jobs, their last year. Like
Yeah.
they were just waiting for them to
Yeah.
graduate.
Yeah.
Those guys, I stay in touch with a bunch of them, and man, they did really well
Yeah.
for themselves.
So it's funny
Yeah.
you bring that up, because that is a big problem that we have in our area in applied science and technology, is that students are getting picked up while they're still in school, right? So they haven't finished the program yet. They get picked up. They're happy. They're working, but we don't got a completer. So we have to change that, right? If the student was looking for a job and they got a job before they finished, there's got to be some kind of a box to check off there. And the other thing too is that we get a lot of poaching also, right? Let's say that you two are employers, and you're both looking for the same type of worker, and Eddie, you got somebody already there, and Ton is willing to pay him or whoever $1 more an hour, and guess where your employee is going? He's going to go over there, or she's going to go over there, right? So we get a lot of that as well. So one of the things that I tell industry partners a lot is make sure that your wage is competitive. If your wage is not competitive, you're going to have an employee for 3 or 4 months, and then you're going to lose them.
I really you talked about the idea of completion. I think that's something that we don't necessarily measure. And I don't know if that's something that is being measured in your area, but that's a really good point. If our goal is to get students into the workforce,
Right.
and we only measure by whether or not they complete a degree here, but we don't measure that they came here for a certain period of time and got into the workforce, then it's skewed in terms of our impact and effectiveness.
Correct. Yeah. The same thing with industry recognized credentials. They might be here for one class. It gives them a credential. That's a win. We have to be able to track all of our wins, not just the ones that check off the main 3 boxes.
What are the fastest growing sectors in today's economy?
Definitely off the top of my head, aerospace for sure, semiconductor, EVs are a big one too. So those are the things that we're kind of really focused in on right now. Anything in automation also.
Thank you for joining us for a podcast.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
We've been trying to get you for a couple of years, I think. But I'm so happy to see you. I'm so happy to celebrate your community success. I like that too. That I like that. I think Mesa Community College is very blessed to have you here. That's for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I know you want to shy away from your individual thing, but you do bring what we need.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that. We like to give our guests the final word to the listeners. What do you like to share?
Well, first, I want to thank you all for having me on here. You guys have made it very, very comfortable. I can't lie, I was a little nervous. I think the hardest part, today was not being able to wear my hat. But I love Mesa Community College. I love the opportunity that we have every single day to just transform lives. So whoever's listening, thank you for what you do for our campus community. If I've met you, let's work together. If I haven't, I want to meet you, because we could all do just a little bit more to help out our students, and that's what we're here for, right? To do the best that we can for our students and for our community, and to do the best that we can to help and support each other too. So thank you.
Last word.
Wow. Again, I have seen you and heard your name for years. And in the last couple of months, we've been sitting next to each other, in different meetings. And I am just so grateful that someone with your experience on so many levels, you get it on so many levels in education, and the impact that what we do here will have not only on those students, right, and on the industry, but also on the children that they may have or the children that they may influence in the educational system. You're just remarkable.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm so glad I got to know more about you.
Thank you. Appreciate those kind words.
My first experience was Cesar, was him standing up in the room telling people, my name is not Cesar. And I looked over, I said, who's this brother over here, man? He stood up and told everyone, don't be calling me Cesar. My name is Cesar. And he went into the whole thing, and I was like, all right.
You have to be assertive, man. Yeah. Names are powerful. Names are powerful. They carry a lot of meaning.
Yeah. Oh, that's when people call me Twan. Yeah. I'm like, where do you get, where's your phonics? Yeah. It's T-A-W-N, not T-W-A-N.
Well, in fairness, it took me a month to master Hypely.
Yeah.
You probably didn't know that, did you?
No.
No, it's, I say Hypely. Yeah. Don't believe the hype.
There you go. There you go. That's a good way to remember it.
Thank you for joining us today. I hope you guys give this a listen. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe. In my dad's language, they say, take care of each other out there. We are all we have.
Absolutely. Go Thunderbirds.